All right, so get this. We're diving into, get this, the end of The Simpsons today.
Okay.
Which, I know, right? It sounds crazy even saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Like this show has been on for, it feels like forever.
It really does.
But you sent over some really thought-provoking articles and videos about how a show this iconic could actually wrap up.
Yeah.
Like, is that even possible?
It's a unique challenge, right? Because The Simpsons isn't just a sitcom. It's like this cultural mirror reflecting American life, humor, anxieties for over 3 decades. I mean, so finding a finale that honors that legacy, satisfies this huge and diverse fan base, and feels like a real ending.
Yeah.
That's no easy feat.
It's tough. And a few of these sources even argue that maybe the 2007 movie should have been the finale. Like that was their Avengers Endgame moment.
Okay.
And they could have just rode off into the sunset on a high note.
Yeah, that's one approach, and it makes you think about the business side of things, too.
Interesting.
Friends, which had a similar run, it thrives in syndication.
Oh, yeah.
A clean ending can be lucrative, we know that.
Right, right.
But The Simpsons throws another wrench in the works just because of how it's structured.
Totally. It's not your typical sitcom.
Right.
Like, who even is the main character? Is it Homer? Is it the whole family?
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on that floating timeline.
Exactly.
It makes finding a traditional ending with, like, character arcs all tied up in a bow.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty tricky.
Exactly, yeah. One of the YouTube videos, How Should The Simpsons End?
Okay.
It suggests taking inspiration from an episode called Home Sweet Home-a-Diddly Dum Doodly. Do you remember this one?
Vaguely.
Vaguely, okay.
Yeah.
So the kids end up with the Flanders
Oh, yeah.
in foster care. And
Right.
it's wild.
Yeah.
But it ultimately kind of reaffirms why the Simpsons, as dysfunctional as they are,
Right.
they work as a unit.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, I see where they're going, like using a familiar scenario, but giving it that finality that, like,
Yeah.
this is it. This is how it ends.
This is how we say goodbye.
Yeah.
And it plays into, I think, what is the core of the show.
Yeah.
This idea of family.
Family.
Even a family as chaotic as The Simpsons.
Right.
It's a powerful force. And several sources emphasize this. It can't just be a sentimental ending, you know?
Right.
Like, you got to have that classic Simpsons bite.
Exactly, yeah. Finding that balance between heart and satire, I think, is going to be really key.
Absolutely. And we can't forget the Apu in the room.
Oh, right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
One video, The Simpsons dying a slow, woke death, really digs into this whole debate around Apu and the decision to recast white actors voicing non-white characters.
Yeah, talk about reflecting changing times.
It really is.
Yeah, The Simpsons has always been a product of its time, and I think this controversy just highlights how the conversation around representation in media, it's evolved.
Right.
There are valid arguments on all sides of this. How the writers choose to address it or not address it will definitely be a part of the show's legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2020, they shifted away from white actors voicing non-white characters. So, like, for instance, Dr. Hibbert.
Right.
His voice actor changed.
And that wasn't without its own controversy.
Of course not.
That same video actually features Harry Shearer's take on it.
Okay.
And he voiced, a lot of characters on the show.
Right, a lot of characters.
And he said, I have a very simple belief about acting. The job of the actor is to play someone who they're not.
It's such a fascinating debate, I think, about where's the line between artistic license and authentic representation. On the one hand, increasing diversity is crucial. Right. On the other, some argue that voice acting is about embodying any character, regardless of background.
It's a tough one.
It is something to ponder.
It really is. And it makes me think about that whole, like, Simpsons predicting the future thing.
Oh.
I mean, we could do a whole other deep dive on that alone.
Oh, easily. That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We could go down.
But for all the buzz it generates, maybe focusing too much on those predictions kind of distracts from, like, the real meat of the matter here.
Okay.
Which is, how do you craft a satisfying ending to a story as sprawling and as influential as The Simpsons?
Exactly. And we've barely scratched the surface of what these videos suggest.
Before we go any further, you got to give me a sneak peek.
Okay.
What's the wildest idea out there? So before the break, we were about to get into some of the more, shall we say, out there ideas for how The Simpsons could end. What's the most creative suggestion you came across?
Well, one of the videos, How to End The Simpsons,
Okay.
it proposes like leaning into the show's cyclical nature.
Okay.
So they argue that the finale should actually mirror the very first episode, Simpsons roasting on an open fire.
Interesting. So we're talking about a Christmas episode, bringing it full circle.
Bringing it full circle.
It would definitely tug at the heartstrings, seeing how much has changed, or maybe hasn't.
Exactly. In Springfield.
But instead of it being like a straight-up remake,
right,
it would be about how the Simpsons navigate the holidays now,
Okay.
So reflecting how they've evolved,
Right.
or maybe how some things never change.
Right.
It'd be a way to comment on the passage of time.
Right.
Within that floating timeline,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. It'd be subtle.
Yeah.
But knowing the Simpsons, they'd find a way to make it funny and poignant.
Totally.
At the same time.
At the same time.
But other sources took a totally different approach.
Okay.
Like, way different.
Yeah.
We're talking full-on
like a time-lapse.
Time-lapse episode.
Yes.
Showing where everyone ends up.
Oh, the flash forward.
Down the line.
That's a popular one.
Right.
For long-running shows.
Yeah.
And it would allow the writers to maybe, like, offer some resolution to character arcs. We could see Lisa as president.
Oh, my God.
Bart as a Supreme Court justice. Just kidding. That will never happen.
That'll never happen.
But, yeah, I mean.
Imagine seeing Maggie all grown up, finally speaking in complete sentences.
I know. It would be very cute.
It'd be a way to give, like, closure to the viewers while still staying true to the show's comedic tone,
Precisely. And visually, it would be a chance to maybe play with different animation styles, to denote the passage of time, which I think could be really effective if done right.
Okay, you've convinced me the time-lapse idea has potential.
Okay.
But there was one more suggestion that really threw me for a loop.
Okay.
And I mean, we're talking next level meta here.
Okay, you're not talking about the one where they become self-aware, are you?
Bingo.
Okay, all right.
Like, can you imagine they suddenly realize they're on a TV show?
Yeah.
Maybe even start interacting with the audience.
Right.
Or their own voice actors.
With the voice actors.
Talk about breaking the fourth wall.
It would be a bold move.
So bold.
It would be very bold, but knowing the Simpsons,
Yeah.
I think they could pull it off.
They could?
With their trademark wit.
Right.
I mean, they've always been masters of self-referential humor.
Oh, absolutely. Remember that episode where they're watching the Itchy and Scratchy show?
Yes.
And Homer yells at the TV. She's like, "This cartoon stinks. Get out here with this garbage."
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's the Simpsons in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Always willing to poke fun at themselves.
Exactly. And that's why I think a meta ending, while risky, it could be brilliant.
It could work.
Because it would acknowledge the show's place in pop culture history.
Yes.
Its impact on animation, its impact on comedy,
right,
and its ability to make us laugh at ourselves.
And it would leave viewers with something to debate long after the credits roll.
Right.
Like, did The Simpsons finally break free from their sitcom reality? Or was it all just a dream sequence?
Or was it all a dream?
Classic Simpsons.
Classic Simpsons.
It wouldn't provide, like, traditional closure.
Right.
But it would be true to the show's spirit. Of subversion.
Yeah.
And unpredictability.
Totally.
Okay, so we've got heartwarming, we've got future tripping.
Yeah.
We've got meta madness.
We've got it all.
What other wild ideas did these sources cook up? Okay, so we've gone through the sentimental endings, the futuristic, even the, like, downright bizarre possibilities for The Simpsons.
We've gotten weird.
But there was one suggestion. I don't know, I found it intriguing. Mostly because it's kind of a non-ending ending.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
The Simpsons simply doesn't end.
Okay.
That's it. No grand finale.
Right.
No tying things up in a neat little bow. It's just, they just keep going.
Okay.
Maybe with, occasional specials or movies down the line.
Right. So it's like, but the door's always open.
The door's always open. It's a bold concept.
It is bold.
A little bit of a cop-out, maybe,
right,
if we're being honest.
Right.
But it plays into this idea of The Simpsons as a cultural institution.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like so ingrained in the fabric of like animated sitcoms, social commentary that like trying to contain it within a definitive ending just...
It feels wrong.
It feels wrong.
Yeah.
It's like saying goodbye to a part of ourselves. But then again, part of me wonders...
Sure.
Doesn't that, I don't know, undermine the weight of everything that came before? Like if new stories can just kind of pop up whenever. Right. Does
it cheapen the journey we've been on for all these years?
Right. That's the debate.
Right.
Like what What purpose does a series finale really serve?
What are we doing here?
Is it fan service? Is it just a way to provide closure?
Right.
Or is it like, let a creator's final statement, their way of controlling the legacy of their work?
Whoa. That's deep, man.
It's a lot.
I'm starting to think there's no right answer here.
I don't think there is.
It's all subjective, right?
Yeah.
Based on what we each kind of want or need from a conclusion.
Totally.
And it's a testament to the impact the show has had.
I think so, too.
You know, we're so invested, not just in the comedy, but in what it reflects about our own lives, that ending it feels almost impossible.
It does feel impossible.
You know, this whole conversation has really got me thinking about why The Simpsons has resonated with so many people for so long.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked a lot about potential endings.
Right.
But, like, not enough about just what makes the show so special.
It's true. It's easy to get caught up in the speculation of it all, right?
Right.
But you're right. At its core, it's this brilliant satire of the American family.
Yes.
And by extension, American society.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the characters, sure, they're exaggerated.
Sure.
But they feel relatable.
They do.
You know?
Homer's everyman struggles, Marge trying to hold everything together.
Totally.
Bart's mischief.
Yep.
Lisa's idealism.
It's all there.
They're like archetypes of ourselves.
Right.
The good and the bad.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
And the writing. Always top-notch.
Oh.
You know, they manage to be hilarious while making sharp commentary.
It's true.
On everything.
It's on everything, yeah.
Politics, pop culture, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why those catchphrases become so iconic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they tap into something universal.
Totally.
Even when the humor is like absurdist.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think beneath the satire, there's a genuine warmth to the show.
Absolutely. And I think it's a celebration of family, of community, and I think ultimately finding humor in the mundane.
100%.
Like no matter how crazy things get,
Right.
there's a sense that things will always work out.
They always work out.
Even if it's in a messy, Simpson-esque way.
In the end, they always do.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the appeal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in a world that feels chaotic, unpredictable,
right,
there's still comfort to be found.
There's still comfort.
In the familiar.
In the familiar, absolutely. And that's kind of a powerful message, don't you think?
I think so, too.
Yeah.
And you know what? After all this back and forth, I'm kind of realizing that maybe how The Simpsons ends isn't really the most important thing.
I think you're right.
You know, what matters most is that it exists.
It's true.
It's given us countless laughs.
So many laughs.
Memorable moments.
Yes.
And a shared cultural experience.
Yes.
That has spanned, I mean, generations.
Generations, literally.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So maybe instead of, you know, getting caught up in finding that perfect ending, we should just be grateful.
I think so.
For the ride.
Yeah.
Trust that the writers are going to do their best to honor the show's legacy.
That's a great way to look at it.
And after all, no matter what happens in the finale, we'll always have Springfield.
We'll always have Springfield.
We can revisit the classic episodes anytime.
That's right.
Relive those jokes.
Yes.
Appreciate the show's impact on animation, on comedy.
On our lives, even.
Well, you've given me a lot to think about today.
A lot to think about.
Thanks for diving into this with me.
The pleasure was all mine.
And on that note, we'll say cowabunga to our listeners. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. And remember, no matter how much things change, they always stay the same, especially in Springfield.